okay? Yeah, I'm talking to you. Are you doom scrolling again? Spiraling into another late night overthinking session where you dissect every single tiny thing you said today. Stop for a second. Let's do a quick vibe check. Have you ever just stopped? You look down at your phone, you see a text pop up from someone who is an absolute walking red flag. Someone who constantly drains your energy, demands your attention, and offers nothing but chaos in return. And instead of typing out a long, carefully worded response to manage their feelings, you just simply swipe it away. You delete it. You realize that if you don't initiate, if you don't keep the engine running, everything will just fade into a quiet, peaceful silence. And for the first time, you low-key don't even care. Society loves to label you. They look at you and they see the strong one. They see the rock. The person who never breaks down, never needs help, and handles every single crisis perfectly. You are the therapist friend, the one everyone calls when their life is falling apart because they know you will drop everything to fix it. But the exhausting reality is you are a deeply drained, high-masking individual. You are terrified of dropping the ball because deep down in your core, you believe your worth is entirely dependent on being useful. If you aren't fixing, if you aren't helping, who even are you? Maybe society looks at you and sees a lone wolf. They call you cold, aloof, emotionally unavailable. But the reality, you are someone whose nervous system is so easily overwhelmed by emotional intimacy that isolation is your only way to find peace. You don't lack empathy. You care too much, so you shut down just to survive. Or maybe society sees the high achiever, the golden child, the one with the perfect aesthetic, who has their life flawlessly put together, giving major main character energy. The reality is that you are running entirely on the fuel of anxiety. You aren't actually chasing success. You are sprinting as fast as you can away from the deep-seated fear of being ordinary, unloved, or abandoned. And finally, maybe society sees the chill person, the one with no drama, who just goes with the flow and never complains. The heartbreaking reality, you are a person who has completely abandoned your own boundaries and swallowed your own needs whole just to ensure you are never a burden to anyone else. You do not look like you are struggling. You hold down your job, you pay your bills, you smile, but you feel profoundly lonely, even in a crowded room, because nobody knows the real you, only the curated, highly managed version you present to stay safe. Listen to me.
It's okay to let go
You
of
do
what
not
doesn't serve
need
you.
advice.
Take a
You
moment
get enough
and
of
listen
that.
to your inner voice.
You do not need someone telling you to try harder, think positive, or look on the bright side. You are already trying way too hard. You just need to feel SE. I see how heavy that armor is. You can put it down now. You are safe here. We have this highly toxic belief that extreme burnout has to look like a dramatic breakdown. We think if we were truly struggling, we would be sobbing on the floor, and someone would magically throw us a life preserver. But the fire inside you burned out a long time ago, yet your external machine is still operating at max capacity. Psychologists call this shadow functioning. How on earth are you surviving in this state? How do you get out of bed every day when you are running on empty? The answer is cortisol habituation. Your nervous system was designed to treat stress and red flags as a loud, blaring siren. But because you have endured chaotic environments and high pressure for so long, your brain basically went, you know what? Let's just unplug that siren. It recategorized your extreme exhaustion. It made it your new normal. Exhaustion is the water you swim in every single day. You don't even realize you are drowning because it's the only temperature you know. You aren't collapsing because you are weak. You are drained because your brain is working a brutal, invisible overtime shift. It is constantly pre-processing every single problem. You don't just walk into a room. You are the thermostat. You are not just existing. You constantly read the temperature of everyone's mood and adjust yourself to keep the room from catching fire. You anticipate people's needs before they even open their mouths to ask. You are constantly using expressive suppression, swallowing your true feelings, putting on a brave face, and staying reliable. But this suppression is charging you an incredibly high cognitive tax. It is quietly bleeding your neural resources dry. You are experiencing role engulfment. You've played the role of the fixer for so long that you've lost the right to fall apart. You are the Atlas child. You are holding up the sky so that it doesn't crush the people you love, but no one ever pauses to ask how your shoulders are doing. When society looks at you rotting in bed all weekend and calls you lazy or unmotivated, they are lying to you. Enter the polyvagal theory. Your nervous system doesn't wait for your permission. It automatically flips the breaker to protect you from total energetic depletion. You are not lazy. You are in a dorsal vagal shutdown. You are in a freeze trauma response. Your nervous system is overwhelmed and shuts down your body to conserve energy. It is literally screaming, "It's too much. Play dead to survive." Procrastination, doom scrolling, dissociation. That is not a character flaw. That is a frozen nervous system exhausted from carrying emotional weight. What about when you overthink? Society calls you anxious. They say you are too sensitive or too emotional. But actually, you are a profoundly empathetic individual, a highly intelligent, hyper-vigilant protector. You absorb the emotional landscape of the room because you lack a protective psychological skin. You have a mind that had to predict the unpredictable in childhood just to stay safe. When you act like a control freak, it's because you are deeply terrified of uncertainty. If you control the environment, you prevent the trauma of being caught off guard again. This is the fight response. The nervous system says, if I control everything and everyone, I won't get hurt. When you become a workaholic, constantly overscheduling yourself and running away from intimacy, that's the flight response. Your body says, if I keep moving and stay busy, the pain can't catch up to me. And when you are called a people pleaser or told you are weak, that is the fawn response. You learned early on that your safety depended on managing the moods of volatile adults. Your body says, if I make the threat happy, they won't attack me. I will abandon myself to keep you around. You became the chameleon. You've spent so long blending into the colors of what other people need you to be that when you look in the mirror, you don't even know your own original color anymore. Where does this all come from? Let's trace it back to the core wounds. Maybe you have the unseen child wound. You were the child who was ignored or only praised for achievements, not for who you actually were. So now, in adulthood, you believe, I must be perfect to be loved. My worth is tied to my output. Maybe you have the parentified child wound. You had to grow up way too fast to take care of emotionally immature or absent parents. You became hyper-independent, completely unable to ask for help. Or maybe you have the criticized child wound. You walked on eggshells around unpredictable, angry, or hypercritical parents. You believe if I make everyone else happy and stay quiet, I will be safe. You locked the painful memories in the basement, but the ghost still lives in your nervous system, rattling the pipes every time someone gets too close. This is why you overreact to seemingly small things. It's not about the present moment, it's an echo from the past. This wiring completely shapes your attachment style. If you have anxious attachment, you deeply fear abandonment.
Don't leave me.
You constantly seek reassurance, overanalyzing micro expressions because you believe I am too much, but I am never enough.
Too much.
You cling
too much.
because your
Never enough.
childhood caregivers were inconsistent. If you have dismissive avoidant attachment, you fear engulfment. You equate intimacy with being trapped or controlled. You pull away when things get too close because your caregivers were emotionally unavailable or rejecting. Your armor is extreme self-reliance. If society calls you commitment phobic, it's not that you fear love. You fear the pain that historically came with it. You equate intimacy with the loss of freedom or the inevitability of abandonment. If you are fearful avoidant, you desperately want connection but are terrified of it. You experience a push-pull dynamic because your caregivers were a source of fear or chaos. Let's talk about Maya for a second. Maya goes on a group trip with her friends. Everyone is having an amazing time, but by day 3, Maya is completely, inexplicably drained. She feels guilty. She thinks she's ruining the vibe. But Maya isn't just on vacation. Maya is working. She is tracking everyone's micro expressions. She's making sure no one feels left out. She is suppressing her own need for quiet time because her nervous system is stuck in survival mode. It is exhausting, and it is incredibly lonely. Or let's look at history. Look at Napoleon and Talleyrand. Napoleon is screaming, throwing a massive tantrum, completely losing his mind in a fit of rage. And what does Talleyrand do? He stands there in complete, unbroken silence, watching him. Or think about Julius Caesar being kidnapped by pirates. He didn't panic. He didn't fawn. He maintained an untouchable psychological state. They understood something vital. They weaponized their psychology. It is time for a paradigm shift. It is time to turn what you thought was a weakness into a ruthless superpower. Stop treating relationships like they are purely emotional. Start treating them as an economy of provocation. Your emotions, your peace, your reactions, that is premium currency. Stop handing it out for free to people who throw stones and hide their hands. When society tells you it's natural to get angry, when they tell you to count to 10 and breathe, they are lying to you. Instead of reacting, look at toxic people with clinical pity. Look at them like an observer. Your silence is not you running away. It is a fortress. Your detachment is not isolation. It is a sanctuary. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to react. You become an unmapped territory, an entity that simply cannot be manipulated. You are not just calm, you are free. You cannot be touched. You become a void of non-reaction. You are safe here. You can soften. You can lower the drawbridge. You can put down the weight you've been carrying in silence for so long. If this makes complete sense to your exhausted nervous system, if this video finally explained the invisible wound you've carried alone, I want you to leave an affirmation in the comments. Let's rewire your brain right now. Type, "I protect my peace," or type, "I am the architect," and hit subscribe, because not everyone is meant to understand this deep level of psychology, but you do. See you next time.